Janeeba was born into a large family of Alicat that lived on the Isles of Ikuda. She had many relatives who were all older than her, leaving her to be the runt of the litter. And although her family were known to birth strangely large Alicats for their species, she was still considered to be the smallest amongst her siblings. Like her family members, she had a very dark skin tone with dark blue fur, akin to the color black. She had yellow gems for eyes and white markings on the accented parts of her body, like her face, arms and tail. She was extremely tall and lanky for a female Alicat, ranging from the size of 6 feet 5 inches tall, making her far taller than most males of a different race, which often put her at an odd position when interacting with others. Not only was she very tall and limby, but she was also often awkward. She never stood upright and always seemed to hunch over. Her body features were that of the bestial beastkin, where the features are more animalistic than humanoid, namely her legs, arms and face. But unlike most bestial beastkin, her face lacked the more pronounced muzzle of most and was somewhere between beast and humanoid. Because of this, she was seen as somewhat uncanny or just not very attractive. But that never seemed to bother Janeeba. In fact, most things did not seem to affect Janeeba, for she seemed to lack being able to convey emotions. That wasn't to say that she did not have any feelings, for she was known to show her emotions through actions. However, ever since she was a little cub, she had always seemed to stand off away from others and never openly expressed herself. She never said much to anyone, not even her family who bullied her for it. But she never seemed to mind this. To her, it was part of growing up with her tribe, and she loved them nonetheless. It is tradition within Janeeba's tribe for the siblings to stick to the bloodline of the family and form a clan. These clans act as extended units of forces that fought and protected the tribe against other invading clans or outsiders seeking to steal their territory. Though Alicats are not known to go to war with one another, let alone with other beastkin, they can and will defend themselves against the forces they are known to face. When Janeeba and her siblings grew older, they formed a clan called Roroka, in honor and praise of the god Roroka, whom they believed to give them strength and endurance to withstand the harshness of their land. Although the war against the Skjal had been over centuries ago, the land was still plagued with the kind of the undead who stood at the doorsteps of the Akunai on every occasion and threatened their very lives. Janeeba and her clan had fought against the Skjal, but did not survive the battle, leaving Janeeba to be the sole survivors, whereas her siblings all had perished along with her mother. Janeeba later found out that her father had abandoned his family when he fled from the Skjal, leaving the others to die. She had later found him cowering in a city in Volraya and confronted him. From that day on, Janeeba had never truly been the same again. Whereas she was once trusting of others, she had grown cynical and mistrusting of all around her. She had already begun to withdraw herself from the world, forever searching for a place she could call home, but never truly feeling at peace. When Janeeba was younger, she never played with her siblings because they had always shunned her away. Because of this, Janeeba was always seen on her own. One day, while she played in the wet forests of the Isles, she met an older Elkai male who went by the name Darin. She had never met an Elkai before, seeing as the Elkai race were known to avoid stepping foot onto the Isles itself due to a fear of a curse placed on the entirety of the Isles of Ikuda, barring the race entirely. However, Darin seemed different. He did not seem to mind being on the Isles, and the reason for him being there was always left as a mystery to Janeeba, even as she grew older. Darin acted as a friend to Janeeba, and the only friend she ever really knew. Although he was much older than the then 10-year-old Janeeba, he also saw her as a dear friend. Soon the relationship would grow stronger into a mentor/apprentice level. She was taught everything Darin had to offer to her, including how to fight. Because she was seen as the weaker sibling of her tribe, she was never taken seriously and thus never was trained in the art of combat. She didn't even have a weapon to train with. To remedy this, Darin had fashioned her a weapon specifically fit for her. Instead of steel, the weapon, which was a dagger, was woven out of a special kind of grass that can only be grown in the swamps of the Isles. This kind of grass was far stronger than normal grass and far denser, which made for a good weapon in Darren's eyes, but Janeeba could not understand this. Why must I use a weapon made of grass? Wouldn't steel or metal be stronger? Janeeba questioned upon being given the weapon. Darren only smiled at the young Janeeba and explained that the dagger he made for her was special, for it reminded him of her. Janeeba would only look at him in confusion. He would then further explain. You are like this dagger, dear Janeeba. It may look weak and feeble, but when finely tuned and with proper training, it can become a deadly weapon with strong potential. Janeeba did not understand this at the time, but she held on to the dagger close to her heart, especially when the time Darren had disappeared suddenly, leaving her baffled and confused. For years, Janeeba would think of that Elkai who mentored her and befriended her. She even began to search for him after the fall of her clan, to no avail. It would soon become a realization that she may never see that Elkai again, but she would never forget him. She would go on to live her life as a wandering mercenary, working for coin but without a purpose, which caused her to continue to wander. Her ceaseless wandering would bring her to a band of adventurers in New Eingalded, who would then hire her as an extra pair of hands to deal with a skjal problem, seeing as she showed to have some knowledge and experience on dealing with them. It was a daunting battle for the group, but with Janeeba, they were successful for now. To celebrate, they invited Janeeba to their revelry despite Janeeba's hesitation. That's when she met another Elkai named Alaro. She was shopping for new gear at the market when she met him. He had advised her the best kind of gear that would not only fit her unique physique, but also accentuate her beauty, as he put it. This baffled Janeeba, who thought the Elkai to be mad to find her even remotely attractive, but she did listen to his advice nonetheless. From then on, the Elkai named Alaro would welcome himself to the party, and over the years, he and Janeeba would grow closer to one another on a different level from the one she had long ago with Darren, where she would become his second in command, while he led their party into something larger to combat against the growing threat of skjal in New Eingalded.